you're seeing large customers have an appetite to throw out the tools that they've used and instead try these new solutions in a way that is historically very difficult.
We're at the annual Uncharted Summit in Southampton, New York. A gorgeous day here for founders and funders to come together and talk about the marketplace and, of course, ideas ahead. I'm honored to be joined by Rebecca Kaden. She's managing partner at Union Square Ventures. With more, Rebecca, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So great to have you. And other than this beautiful weather,
Gorgeous.
What brings you to Uncharted today?
I think Uncharted is an awesome community of entrepreneurs and founders and people who are thinking about big new ideas, and those are the kind of people I love to be around.
Yeah, and I want to talk about those big new ideas because, of course, at Union Square Ventures, you're focused on a lot of them. What big new ideas excite you today?
Yeah, I think we're at a really unique moment in entrepreneurship and investing where we're seeing, massive technology shifts and this landscape really open up to dramatically shift cost structures of markets and what's possible in them, and dramatically broaden access where suddenly maybe healthcare can be free, maybe education can be accessible to everyone. What's possible with technology is totally different than what was, and we're really thinking about that. I think we're at this moment where the barriers of what's possible is really around imagination and not capability and technology, and that's a pretty cool and unique moment.
Yeah. What does the investing landscape tell you right now in terms of the conditions?
Yeah, I think the investing landscape reflects the kind of wildness and volatility and excitement of the time we're in. On one hand, there's frenzy, there's bubbles, there's pouring in of capital to these new, whether it's foundational models or application layers on top. On the other, there's trepidation around macro and tariffs and global conditions that's creating difficulty from some companies working in those. And so you're just seeing really everything happen. But I think the pouring in of capital to the new and what's possible, particularly with AI, reflects the degree of excitement that's really felt around that right now.
Is AI still the crux of basically all investing, right? Every company, it seems like, needs to have an AI strategy these days.
I think very quickly, AI is becoming a horizontal foundation versus a vertical, right? So if you think about it, at the beginning, people needed a web strategy or needed a mobile strategy. And now you would never call a company a mobile company or an internet company. Companies have internet strategies. Companies are technology companies. Everything has a mobile component. I think the slope is just way faster in getting AI there. So if you're trying to build something to tackle a market and fundamentally shift it, AI is now going to be central to how you do that.
Yeah. You're going to be on stage a little bit later, talking, of course, to the community here. Are there points that you want to drive home to those in attendance?
I think there's a lot. I think one is if you're curious about starting a business, if you have an itch to be entrepreneurial, I think there has never been a better time to do it than right now. I think the barriers to entry are so much lower than they've ever been. You can do things with software without being technical, without being a developer, without a lot of money that before would have these massive barriers to entry. I think we're seeing enterprises be open to working with new technologies and new software in a totally different way and really welcome them into the fold. You're seeing large customers have an appetite to throw out the tools that they've used and instead try these new solutions in a way that is historically very difficult. And I think you're seeing consumers just have an appetite to try stuff, to experience new things. And so that combination makes it, I think, a very good time to start.
Yeah. And how important is the path to profitability for these companies that do want to grow in this environment?
I think it depends what you are building and how. I think overall, it's extremely important to have a path to profitability, and more so than it's historically been. I also think it's much more possible to do that, right? The fundamental cost structures that were involved in a lot of companies are totally different and way lower. I think you're going to see multi-billion-dollar companies being built with only a handful of people building them, and people are often the biggest cost center. I think that's going to really change, and so profitability is going to take on a different role there. That being said, you think about the foundational models or some of these kind of big shifts going on at the infrastructure side that are nowhere near profitability and probably won't be. And I think that's probably okay because there's capital appetite in the market to get it far enough. So I think you have to know what kind of company you're building and write the cost structure to what you're working with.
Rebecca Kaden, managing partner at Union Square Ventures, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me.